The Ko'olau Summit Trail stretches the entire length of the island of Oahu along the summit ridge of Ko'olau, an extinct supervolcano. Hiking it is known to be extremely difficult and dangerous, but some dedicated hikers make it a goal to complete the entire thing.
Today's hike begins in Manoa Valley on the Pu'upia Trail, which we divert off of and climb up Mānoa Middle Ridge to reach the summit trail. From there, we turn right on the KST and head south towards the summit of Pu'u'awa'awaloa, more commonly known as Mount Olympus, on a short but difficult crossover. We then exit the KST, going down the Wa'ahila Ridge Trail to where it intersects with the Kolowalu Trail. We take the Kolowalu Trail, which leads us back down to Manoa Valley, where we started, completing the loop. I had attempted this route once before, about a year prior, before I had any experience with the KST. But shortly into the crossover, the narrow conditions of the trail started freaking me out, and I made a decision to turn around early, going back down the way that I came. But today, I was back with more experience and confidence under my belt, looking for my shot at redemption. So we set off on the Pu'upia Trail, taking it almost all the way to the top before we turned onto a small side trail, which led us steeply down into the valley and stream below, which we then crossed and began our ascent up Mānoa Middle Ridge. Mānoa Middle wastes no time getting steep, so we gained a lot of elevation really quickly, offering great views of Mānoa Valley behind us. After a brutal ascent of 1,500 feet in elevation gain in only half a mile, we had finally reached the top of Mānoa Middle Ridge. Now it was time to hike the KST to where it reaches the summit of Mount Olympus. The crossover began descending on a narrow ridge, which was definitely nerve-wracking, but not actually too bad. Soon, we would reach the first major obstacle in the trail, this giant pine tree which sits right in the middle of the ridge, causing us to have to climb precariously around it to continue. Right away, we reached the next obstacle, this short 10-foot section that almost felt more like walking on a tightrope. In this picture, you can see me carefully inching my way forward. This leads to the sketchiest part of the entire hike, where you have to climb over a rock formation known as Sedan Rock. Luckily, there's an optional bypass that contours below Sedan Rock, but this section is also sketchy enough on its own, as there's almost no flat ground to stand on, leaving you clinging to the side of the mountain. We continued on, the summit of Mount Olympus drawing ever closer in the distance. The KST soon joined the contour trail once again, becoming much more overgrown. The clouds began rolling in, but we could just make out our destination in the distance, the summit of Mount Olympus and the Wa'ahila Ridge Trail. Upon reaching Mount Olympus, we took a short break to eat some lunch and then began the long descent down Wa'ahila Ridge. Over halfway down, we reached the junction with the Kolowalu Trail, which had us hiking down into the valley. Before long, we were back down at the Pu'upia Trail where we had started, and I had conquered my fears and was a half mile closer to finishing the KST.